Hello everybody, and welcome back to Surfat Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we have a pretty good group of first appearances. I think we have 5 first appearances, 3 honorable mentions, so 8 titles on all to go through. There's definitely some books in there you guys should pick up for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearances of the week, week ending May 5th, 2023. First up from Marvel Comics, Cult of Carnage Misery number 1. This features the first appearance of Liz Allen as Misery. This also features the first appearance of Corwin Jones, later becomes Madness. You know, now Carnage, Venom, that franchise, huge fan base, huge collector base, so anytime there's a first appearance of new characters within that particular universe or that franchise, it's definitely worth picking up for the cover price. You know, you don't want to chase these later on at a much higher price, so for $3 or $4, and this particular title here does have a few first appearances, so in our opinion, this one here is definitely worth picking up to add to your collection. Like I said, huge fan base, huge collector base for anything in the Venom universe, so this one here is one we definitely think you should pick up for your collection. Next up from Marvel Comics, Groot number 1. This features the possible first cameo appearance of Ags. This is a 4-issue limited series that reveals never-before-seen moments of Groot's origin and the first adventures through the galaxy. Now once again, anytime there's a first appearance of a new character within a Marvel title, you know, these are definitely worth picking up for the cover price. You know, Marvel Disney is still churning out a ton of media, be it for the small screen or big screen, and anytime there's a first appearance of new characters or a retelling of an origin story, for the cover price, you can't really go wrong with these titles. And this here actually has a possible first cameo appearance of Ags, so this is one you may want to do a little bit more research on. If this is the first appearance, definitely worth picking up. But once again, this does give some insight into Groot's origin, and you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, huge fan base, huge collector base, so even if this is not the confirmed first cameo appearance, it's probably still worth picking up. This is also the premiere issue of this particular title series. This is a 4-issue limited series, so there's not going to be a whole lot of books in this particular title series, and this is the premiere. Like I said, probably worth picking up for the cover price. Go ahead and grab this one. Next up from Marvel Comics, Spider-Man 2099 Dark Genesis number 1. This features the first appearance of Carnage 2099 and the first appearance of Blade 2099. Once again, it's always worth picking up first appearance of new characters within the Spider-Man titles. Now this is not the Amazing Spider-Man title series, but this is the first appearance of Carnage and Blade 2099, and you know, both very popular characters, fan favorite characters, and the fact that you have 2 first appearances in this particular title, and this is the premiere issue of the Spider-Man 2099 Dark Genesis title series, this once again is worth picking up and add to your collection, so go ahead and grab this one. Next up from Marvel Comics, Star Wars number 34. This features the first cameo appearance of Dr. Quata. Now once again, any of these Marvel published Star Wars titles, always worth picking up when there's the first appearance of a new character. You know, Marvel Disney is still churning out a ton of Star Wars media, whether it's streaming series, TV shows, or feature film, and you really don't know where these characters are going to end up that they're introducing in the comics. So it's always worth picking these up, in our opinion, just to spec on. You know, for $3 or $4, you could be sitting on a huge winner, but if it goes nowhere, you're out $3 or $4, but in our opinion, the risk of not participating is much worse than the risk of participating and losing $3 or $4. So once again, this is one we think you should probably pick up for your collection. And finally from Marvel Comics, Edge of Spider-Verse number 1. This features the first appearance of the Spider Killer. The solicitation also states that this issue will introduce brand new spiders. So once again, definitely one you should pick up for your collection. The Spider-Man franchise, like we just mentioned a moment ago, huge fan base, huge collector base. Anytime there's introduction of new characters into that particular franchise or that universe, you know, that's a big deal. These are books you want to own at the cover price. You know, this is the Edge of Spider-Verse title series. This is, of course, not the mainstay title series for Spider-Man, but you have the introduction of brand new spiders in this particular issue. So once again, this is one we definitely think you should pick up for your collection. And now for the honorable mentions from Living the Line Comics, The Abolition of Man number 1. This is a 4-issue series that gives us a chilling peek into the world of the future, where humans and their most treasured passions have lost all purpose. Now, Living the Line Publishers, this is a really small publishing house. They haven't really had any of their titles picked up an option for small screen or big screen projects. But, you know, given the fact that this is a small publisher, their distribution is probably going to be very limited, and their print run is probably going to be pretty small. There are some factors here that actually give this book some speculative value, and that is, it is probably going to be limited distribution, small print run, and it's probably going to be undersold when it first comes out. That being the case, though, like I said, it may not really ever go anywhere if this does not get picked up and get in front of a lot more people's eyes. If it doesn't get picked up an option for a small screen, big screen project, you know, people aren't really going to know about this, and it's probably not really going to go anywhere. But, you know, for $3 or $4, you could be sitting on a huge winner. Like I said, there's not going to be a lot of them out there in a few years. So to get this here book now at cover price and keep it in mint condition, this one here is probably worth specking on. In our opinion, this is a great spec bet. Pick it up if you can. If you can't, though, put it on your B list and keep an eye on it. Next up from Oni, Lamentations #1. This is a 3-issue horror series about actors cast in a play that does not seem to have a traditional script, but instead an evolving and increasingly terrifying living story. Now, we mentioned this pretty much weekly. There's been a rise in horror titles lately. You know, horror titles have always had a huge fan base and huge collector base, and there's been a big resurgence lately with modern horror titles, just because there's been a lot of people racing back to the Golden Age horror titles and picking those up, and they're incredibly pricey in the secondary market, especially in high grade. So to get these modern day horror titles, people are specking on that these are going to be just as important later on. And who knows, they could very well be. They're definitely going to be a smaller distribution, smaller sell-through rate. This is a niche collecting market, but it is a very big market. So once again, this one here is probably going to be a good spec bet to pick up if you can. If you can't, then put this one here in your B-list and take a look at it later on. And finally, for Marvel Comics, Star Wars Yoda #7. Now this features a possible introduction of the Mega Droid, a super weapon of the Separatist army. Like we just mentioned earlier, it's probably a good idea to pick up any first appearance of new characters in these Marvel-published Star Wars titles. This here actually features a possible introduction of the Mega Droid, so you want to do a little bit more research on this to make sure the Mega Droid is actually introduced in this particular issue. If it is, this is one you definitely want to pick up. If not though, being that it is issue #7 of the Star Wars Yoda title series, it may not be all that important. But if it does have the first introduction of the Mega Droid, this is one you don't want to miss out on. So do a little bit more research on this before you choose to pick it up, but it may be worth adding to your collection. So there you have the 8 titles that we have for you guys this week. There's definitely some books in there you guys should pick up for your collection. So please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.